Hey, I'm Big Freedia the Queen Diva, and I'm Black in America.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an episode of Black in America. Today, I have the distinct pleasure and privilege of interviewing the one, the only, Big Freedia. Big Freedia, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me. How you doing, Doc?
Hey, listen, Freedia, I am doing all right today. The sun is shining. I'm in Brooklyn. Everything is cool. How are you doing? How's your family?
Everybody's doing well. Same things happening here. It's beautiful outside. It's nice and hot and humid here in New Orleans. So I'm definitely feeling the warmth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I love? I love New Orleans in the wintertime. All right. Because my allergies and all that can't stand that humidity. But the wintertime, it's really good for me. I love it.
Yeah, it's a nice place here in the winter. Sure. I like it here too.
Well, excellent. Well, let's get right into this. Thank you for joining me today. And I've been opening up this interview, Big Freedia, with a question for everybody. It's a really broad question. I want to open up with the same for you. The question is, what was it like for you growing up Black in America? And tell us where you grew up at. So what was the experience like for you growing up Black in America? And tell the folks where you grew up at.
Well, I grew up here in New Orleans, born and raised here in New Orleans. I grew up a few places around New Orleans, particularly on Josephine Street. Being a young kid, I started on Josephine and, moved to different places throughout my life after that. Stayed on Josephine for a very long time. And growing up, as a kid, I saw it all. I've had the pleasure of, growing up in the Baptist church. So, I was supported by my gospel family and the kids that I grew up around the neighborhood. But I saw drug dealing. I saw people being shot. I saw, people, changing the change of people accepting homosexuality. I saw the struggle, of Black people trying to become successful. I saw a lot of different things in my childhood growing up in the hood. We didn't have a lot of opportunities. So our parents had to create opportunities and create safe havens for us to be in growing up in this particular neighborhood. My safe haven was church. That was my outlet. My mama would say, you going and you get your ass out here and you're going to choir practice and you're going to Sunday school and you're going to church.
Yes.
And that was the way of keeping us safe and keeping us grounded. A lot of times, my mama did hair for over 30 years. My stepdad was a truck driver for Coca-Cola. So, we were fortunate enough to be able to move out of the hood, a few years later into a better neighborhood. Still was hood, but a better hood, I would say. And that's when my mom then made their first purchase on a home. So, just growing up, I was able to see the struggle, see the different transitions of change happening in and around my community. I was in high school and in middle school, seeing the different, people growing up with me, young folks that were still trying to find their way, still trying to identify who they were, who their family was, and, people trying to also make a name for themselves. I also was able to see the change of the bounce culture and growing up as a kid from seeing where it started at and then the different transitions of where it's at now. So I was fortunate enough to see a lot happen in Black America here in New Orleans.
Yes, you were. Okay, I want to unpack a few things. You first of all named the street, Josephine Street, was that correct?
Yes.
Talk to me about you named that. The significance of Josephine Street. What is that? Is that just where you lived, or is there some historical significance?
Well, it's historical. I mean, all parts of New Orleans are really historical, but this particular part is where I grew up at, which was, not many blocks at all. They had an old side of Josephine and they had a new side, which were, just was one street, one long street that connected all of us, that we represented that particular area, and all of the people who grew up around there, when they were asked where you were from, we're from Josephine Street.
Okay,
and
okay.
the Melphamine Project, or you had the Magnolia Project. Josephine was our project. Even though it wasn't a project, it was a street that was in between all of the projects. And so everybody had a different set, and Josephine was our set.
That makes sense. I figured that's what that meant. That was your group. That was your culture. That was your space there and a part of your identity. Got it. Got it. All right. So then from Josephine Street, you took me to church, which is interesting, right? That's what hemmed you in, right? And so Mama, I love how you put it. Mama said you go get your ass up and go to church, right? So I love that.
Every week, she was pushing us out there on Saturday. It's time for choir rehearsal. It's time for Sunday school, It's time for service. So we were always, doing something productive and trying to keep us in a safe place. And church was definitely that safe place and that safe house for us.
I love that. So that was your second form of community and family right there. So you had Josephine Street, but then you had that church community. It was like an extension of your family as well. So I'm gathering.
Yeah. And the church wasn't far. It was maybe about 4 blocks away from Josephine Street. So I would walk to Second and Benil, which was another hood that we had to walk to, which was right around the corner.
I love that. So here it is. You come from this very beautiful, rich, diverse background as far as navigating these spaces. And then you said something really interesting. So mom was a hairdresser. So clearly where you get that style from, you're banging with the hair and all that. That's a part of that process. And then Pops drove a truck for Coca-Cola, stepfather. Yeah. And so, like you said, there was some upward mobility, right? Because there was professions and we moved from one hood to a better hood. Talk to me about the differences in these hoods so folks listening could understand what those differences were for you.
Well, the difference was, it was my mom's opportunity to buy their first home. On Josephine Street, we were renting.
Okay. Yep.
So, as mom steady struggling and grinding and hustling to make a better life for all of us.
That's right.
We were able to move to a different hood, which was downtown now. We were uptown, which was on one side of Canal Street. And when you go on the other side of Canal Street, it's considered downtown.
Got it.
So we moved to a different hood downtown, which was the 8 Ward. And just so happened, I moved on Music Street.
It was preordained, baby. It was
preordained. It was the second place where I grew up, that we stayed for a very long time. And my gay uncle, who owned the house on Music Street, was the person who sold the house to my mom and dad. Who I wanted to be like. My uncle, who was a registered nurse. He was also a psychiatrist. Wow. He was a social worker. So he was my uncle that I looked up to, that didn't even know he was a role model in my life, and I wanted to be like. And that was another reason why I went to nursing school and did some of the things that I did to kind of follow his path. He was very successful. He had many things going on for him. And, it made me proud to kind of follow in his footsteps.
Look at all that Black excellence going on right there, man. The uncle, I love that. Let's give a shout out. What's his name? Let's give a shout out to the uncle.
Ernest Johnson is his name.
Mr. Ernest Johnson, beautiful. So, I love this, right? Back here it is, your uncle had real estate, sells it to your mother. She now has ownership of a home and your stepfather. You're able to get that, which a lot of Black families still don't have home ownership today, right? You think about that. So that was extremely significant back then when your mama did it. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. It gave them something to look forward to, and it gave them something to work hard for, Yes. And that they were Black and they owned something. You didn't have many Black folks owning a lot back then, right. And to have a piece of property, that was big.
I love that. Big Freedia, you said that your uncle was very successful, a nurse, psychiatrist, social worker, but I think you also said he was gay. Talk to me about how did that influence and impact? Because that's a beautiful opportunity that most people don't have, to have someone in their family, a role model that you can be like, oh, I can be myself. And talk to me about how that relationship helped encourage you to be who you were and wanted to be.
Yeah, just watching him and, over the years, and just the way that he handled himself and the way that he handled everything in the family. Like he was the big dog of the family.
Yeah.
Like people went to him for advice. People went for help. People went to him to help them figure out their problems. He was always himself. That was the most important thing. I know him change. He always was this, this big soft guy who was, just loving and kind, but he also would give you the real and tell you what was on his mind and tell you what was on his heart. So, shout out to Uncle Brother for always, holding it down, and rest in peace to him as well. I lost him just recently, not too long ago. And he definitely was a beacon of light and sunshine in my life. And for a long time, he didn't even know. I was just a young kid sitting back observing what he was doing and all of the people that he affected in the family. And when I finally told him that he was a big influence and role model in my life, he was just blown away, just watching him from afar.
Yes.
Big influence though in my life.
I love the fact that you were able to tell him how influential he was before he passed away, Big Freedia.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That is so beautiful. So oftentimes, people who are so instrumental and influential in our lives, we don't ever get a chance to tell them that. And I'm so glad you were able to do that. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah. So here's the next question then. All right. You've told me about this very fascinating experience growing up, diverse, a wonderful mom, stepdad, church, music, street, the whole nine. Tell me in one word, and this is kind of difficult, but in one word, how would you describe your experience of being Black in America? That one word, if it would capture everything we just talked about.
The struggle.
Struggle.
Struggle. It was a struggle, being that I was still trying to find my identity, trying to figure out who I was, trying to figure out where I fit in New Orleans and in my community and in my school and in my church and, in the music game. It has just been a struggle, all of it all. But it also has been a blessing, a grind. So many words that can stem from that one word of where things has took me to. But it's all a part of the story.
Yeah. Frederick Douglass, I think, says it best: without struggle, there is no progress. And so, right. And so it's like, it's that struggle you're talking about. But if we learn how to, again, learn from the struggle and grow from the struggle,
that's important.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to grow and how to, make things develop out of the struggle. A lot of times we be in situations where we are struggling to get to a different point in our lives, but, hard work and consistency and not giving up and having the faith gets us to that next destination.
I love it. And you said something earlier that will connect back to that. You were like, my mother had to be creative and how to keep us hemmed in from all the shit that was popping off around the neighborhood. So that thinking about that struggle, it's like that struggle is also the space where innovation happens. Like, because we have to be innovative and creative through the struggle, right? Yeah.
We do. Yeah. She was creative every day. Every day that she, twirled her curling nines and then she blow dry somebody's hair, or she did a roller set or did a rap.
Yes.
To have her creative space and her creative thinking cap on to cater to all the people that she catered to for those 30 years. So my mom was a very creative person. She was a Libra. And so, she knew how to balance her scale on, on a lot of different things, especially life balances of keeping us safe and keeping us, innovating and making new things happen in our lives. She kept me in choir practice. She kept me doing piano lessons. Wow. She kept me doing student council. She kept me on, everything that I wanted to do. She was my influence and kept pushing me to do all these different things to keep on creating, these moments for myself.
I love, and that's so powerful, right? Because the struggle is not the end of the story. That might be the word that you said you use, but there's some greatness that emerged from that struggle, right? I mean, there's some beautiful things that emerge from that. I love that. And you keep saying us. I want to make sure, how many siblings do you have? How many people did you grow up with in that house?
Just me, my brother, my sister, my mom, and my stepdad.
Okay, so you have a brother and sister. Got it. Okay, got it. Okay. And where do you fall out in the order with the brothers?
I'm the oldest.
Okay, all right. So the responsibility, the pressure, yeah.
Yeah, a lot was on me. You know, when mom had to work those late nights, you know, I had to prepare food. I had to, you know, make sure I get our school clothes ready. I had to do a lot of chores, you know, so a lot of stuff fell on the oldest to just make sure that I kept the other siblings in line or tried to help mom out as much as I can.
Yep.
You know, in her journey to, you know, making sure we had money for field trips or making sure we had a car to ride in or making sure we had nice clothes or could take us to a nice picnic or all the things that she created and did for us. You know, I was helping every step of the way.
I love that. Big Freedia, you know, I'm thinking about what you said and my mind is just, you know, rumbling right now because I was raised by strong Black women. And, you know, we talk about the barbershop, right? I've gone to the barbershop growing up, but your mother was a beautician. And I remember sometimes I had to go with my grandmother or mother to the beauty shop. And it's an all-day damn affair. Okay, that's number one, right? but the experience of the beauty shop is something, the Black beauty shop is something to behold, man. Do you have any memories or stories you want to tell about going to work with your mama, being in that beauty shop? I'm sure there's something.
I mean, there's so many memories from being in the beauty shop. I mean, I used to go a lot of times on Saturday morning and I used to be the receptionist. I also be, you know, the cleanup boy. I would make sure that every time hair is on the floor, I swept the hair. I will also sell the snacks. The receptionist did it all.
That's right.
You got hands all around. You book, you answering the phone, you selling snacks, you speaking. You know, you're getting other stuff for other clients. You're helping the other barbers and beauticians because it was a mix along where they had barbers and beauticians.
Okay.
So it had a vibe out of this world. It had 15 people worked in there.
Wow.
Big shop. And so you saw all different walks of life coming in there. You know, you had the gay barber, you had, you know, the straight guys and the straight barbers, you had the other beauticians. You know, one particular time I remember my mom calling and saying, well, this lady is messing with me. So the whole family, we on our way. Well, who messing with you, mama? Oh, we on our way to keep ain't nobody with you. You know, so I mean, it just was so many great memories that we had. You know, I can remember, you know, us stopping at Tasty Donuts and getting a couple of dozen of donuts for the whole shop, you know, every Saturday morning. You know, that was a normal routine thing that they did, or they stopped at Krispy Kreme before Krispy Kreme was popular. The owner of the shop stopped in Mississippi on his way to New Orleans, and everybody will be just excited about the donuts on Saturday morning because we know Candy gonna bring the donuts away from Mississippi. It's just so many different memories that I can just shoot out there, just of all of the fascinating people that was in our life as kids, and they also influenced us. We got close with them. We knew their kids, their other family members. We had like family picnics where it was like the shop gave picnics and the shop gave giveaways and all kind of stuff. It was an unbelievable experience as a kid growing up, you know, and my mom kept us fresh. Everybody who did hair, your mama kept you fresh. Your hair always cut. Your hair was fly. It was fly dyed and slick
to the side. I know all about it. I love that. See this, and that is being Black in America, right? It's the joy in the struggle, right? It's struggle, but there's community and there's family and there's flavor and spice and love, man. And it's extended beyond just your immediate family. And that's why I wanted them to hear what you were going to tell, because I know the beauty shop experience in the Black culture. I know it, you know, and it's great. That's beautiful.
And she also used to take us to the hair show every year. So the hair show used to be in Atlanta every year. Warner Brothers, you know, she used to take us to the hair show with her, and you will get to see all of these creative styles, and she will go back and she will start doing some of these new styles. And me being the flamboyant one, I'm always, mama, try it on me, you know? I always had all the different styles. My mom used to always have to go to high school for me and like talk to the principal or the counselor. Freddie hair is getting too much attention. The students I'm saying, well, they need to focus on their work because, baby, his hair it's gonna be his hair, you know. So my mom always fought for me when it came to the hair and just being able to, you know, show my style and my sense of style and my ability to be versatile with my hair. I've had everything under the sun, from finger waves to high freezes to ponytails to claws. And some of the styles pull me by my scalp and say, "You going to the bowl with this one. I'm about to rock this one."
I love it. I love it. See, that's what I mean. The first time, Big Freedia, I was exposed to that, because I grew up in Ohio, Midwest, right? And the first time I was exposed to that hair culture and even a mixed barbershop beauty salon is when I had an internship in Detroit. I was in Michigan, and I was in Livonia, but I needed to get my hair cut in Detroit. First time, I'm a teenager. I go to Detroit. I walk in this big building, and you talk about, and D-Town is known for the hairstyles and everything. Okay, yeah, exactly. And bro, it shocked the shit out of me. I'm like, whoa, he's cutting here, she's doing curls here. It was an amazing experience. And it just spoke to the beautiful, rich diversity of our culture. So yeah. I love that, bro. I love it.
I swear I do.
So to your music now, right? Now, we've heard about, again, your experience being Black in America. You have on your playlist the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. Billie Jean is Not My Love. We know that song, right? And I want you to talk to me about, why did that make the list, right? And who were some of your other musical influences growing up? So why did Billie Jean make your list here?
You know, Michael Jackson was a big influence in my life. Just the music, the sound. You know, I felt like a lot of different songs that he created, he was directly talking to me, especially Man in the Mirror. And you know, just being a young kid, I can remember like listening to some of the songs, I would be in full tears, but happy, but also, you know, still trying to identify with who I am and trying to figure out where would I fit at in the world. You know, what, you know, how can I relate to Michael Jackson and some of the things that he's going through. You know, I had a lot of big influences growing up, from Diana Ross to Dionne Warwick to Patti LaBelle to, you know, oh my God, the list go on and on, you know, from just all of the people that I grew up. My mom, she loved music. She loved Frankie Beverly and Maze. You know, she loved so many different people that the OJs, we were, you know, you grow up to all these different people, you know, and especially in the beauty salon, the music stayed on. You know, played music 24/7. So you knew all the different songs, that all the hits that were on the radio every week. You heard all the different stuff that they were playing. So music has just always been a big part of my life. Music heals the soul. Music helps, you know, tell stories. Music helps connect people. And I think that's why I fell in love with Billie Jean and Michael Jackson and some of these other great artists. Sylvester. I love, you know, some of the stuff that RuPaul put out. You know, I was into all of the different, you know, people that we were playing around the house and playing around the shop, and, you know, some of the stuff that we played at the gospel functions. And, you know, I was into it all, you know, and I have a list of gospel people that influenced me as well. John P. Key, Kirk Franklin, Yolanda Adams, Fred Hampton, you know, and the list go on and on. So many other great musical influence who have really touched my life, and their story have touched my life.
I love it. That makes so much sense. Let's talk about Sylvester. You Make Me Feel is featured on your playlist. Talk to me about how does presence as a gay Black man in the music impact you as navigating, again, your own sexuality, your own voice, your own space. How did that impact your world, man?
You know, Sylvester was himself. He was able to be himself. He was out there and he was unapologetic. And, you know, when I got put on to Sylvester, God bless my other uncle soul, Uncle Percy. Uncle Percy introduced me to Sylvester. He gave me my first Sylvester record. And he told me that I remind him of Sylvester in my music. And, you know, just everything about the whole story. He like gave me the background on it. You know, Sylvester was a big influence in his life. And so when he put me on Sylvester, I was like, oh my God, there's somebody out there like me that represents for who I am and what I do and what I love. So, you know, when I was introduced to him, it was such an honor and a blessing
Mm-hmm.
You know, to have somebody that I can relate to, and also in the music game that was just doing their thing. Somebody black and gay in the music game that was out there and not being able to be afraid to be themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And that's so wonderful to have that representation. It helps us to see what is possible when there's people that look like us, we can identify with. I absolutely get it. You also threw out there some of those classics that I know, gospel artists, and you said Kirk Franklin. You have on here the gospel song Never Alone. Now, clearly, we all know at this point, Mama had you going to church. Did you actually, and you went to choir practice, were you like one of the soloists, or you just sang in the background of the choir, or did you start honing your rapping skills at that time? I mean, talk to me about what was going on.
So in the choir world, I started off young, and my friend Denise, which was a girl who lived right across the street from me in the neighborhood, she introduced me to the church that I went to. She was like, "Come to church with me one Sunday."
Okay.
So I went to church with Denise this one particular Sunday, and when I went, you know, who's my godmother today, my nanny, she fell in love with me. She like put her arms around me and started nurturing me, and really, you know, they accepted me for me being me and accepted me being a young gay kid. She put me in the choir. You know, I started singing. She started putting me up for solos. I became the choir director.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Became the assistant choir director to my godmother. I also was the choir director at my high school. I also sung with the Gospel Soul Children of New Orleans. I also sung with the Gospel Music Workshop of America.
Of America, yes.
Yeah, so choir was a big part of my life. I've sung, you know, I've had the opportunity to be with the greats like Raymond Miles, Reuben Herbert, you know, I've been in the presence of Paul Morton, you know, all these different people that were locally famous with gospel music. I was able to interact with all of them. I went to all different type of communications, singing in choir competitions, you know, traveling all around the world with gospel music before I even started rapping or doing any of this other music that I do. Gospel was a big influence in my life, and I traveled a whole lot to you know, make those things happen.
I love that. I love that. It's so, it comes out of you. I mean, and that gospel training and background, it never leaves us. That influence, it never leaves you. No matter what you do, you're never going to escape it.
In my music today, you know, so people sometimes say they come to my show and they feel like they caught some type of, you know, it felt like a revival, or it felt like some type of holy experience. And you know, I tell them, well, you know, I bring people together now in many ways. I'm still the choir director when I'm on stage and I'm performing. You know, if I call out something, you respond. You are the choir. I'm the director. So I'm still directing people today, you know, just in the form of music.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So again, that song particular, Never Alone, what's it say to you, Big Freedia? Why does that speak to your heart?
Well, you know, God never leaves us alone. You know, a lot of people, you know, think that, you know, when he's not there or you don't see his presence or you don't see it, you can always feel it. You know, the Spirit walks with us and by our side, even when you don't see the footprints. You know, they used to always, the footprints used to always be a big thing in the gospel world, where they say you always see those empty footprints walking in the sand on side of you. But God never leaves us. You know, we're never alone, no matter where we at in the world, no matter what we're doing, no matter what we're going through, no matter what the situation may be. He's always there, and he may not come when you want him, but he's always
right on time. Come on. Yeah, you most definitely were church, man. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so you also have some songs, 2 songs on DJ Jubilee. All right, Get Ready, and MC Tucker with DJ Irv's Where They At. What led you to bounce music? And talk to me about that and how that is influenced.
So, you know, growing up in New Orleans, you can't not know DJ Jubilee and, you know, some of the great founders of the culture. You know, you had MCT Tucker, you had DJ Irv, you had DJ Jimmy, you had Partners in Crime, you know, you had Miss T, Cheeky Black, you had so many greats that started with music here in New Orleans. And when I fell in love with the sound, I was young, I was in middle school, going to middle school dances and block parties and people playing the sound around the house. Jubilee was one of the ones to kind of first break a lot of barriers with like having routine dancers, and he had like all male dancers, but like they would be flipping on their head and doing splits and doing stuff that you was just like, that's a male dancer doing that. Right. So it gave me inspiration that, anybody can get out there and represent, for the culture. It captivated a lot of people. Jubilee had the songs that, if they put on a Jubilee song, we about to dance and we about to have a good time. He had the fun party music that brought people together, that made people, unified together with the dance move. Everybody we all doing the big heat together. We all doing the hustle together. Whatever he said, he called out to do, we all did it. So, I just fell in love with the sound, fell in love with the culture, fell in love with the rhythm and the lyrics and just everything about it. And in 98, my friend Katie Red, who was the first transsexual to come out with bounce music, being, gay, Katie needed, support, and we were friends already. So I started helping Katie, going to the studio with Katie, just being there for moral support. Then we started doing some background vocals for Katie. Katie started putting our names in different songs. Just being that support system, being that we were her gay sisters. We here with you, girl. We gonna back you up. And then in 2000, everybody kept saying, "Oh, Freedia, you got the voice for it. You should do it." I made my first little song, and once I made my first song in 2000, I haven't looked back since.
How was that moment for you? Talk to us about your first song, the creation of that first song.
That actually was the first song, which was the song that Drake sampled. Oh yeah, these hoes they mad. I need my cash. It was something catchy. It was something messy that the girls loved. It was something that captivated the city of New Orleans, and they started to support me, and they had my back on the song, and it just took off from there. I was just blown away by the acceptance and the people that love the sound and the music. And when the song started to take off, I just started to be called everywhere to do block parties and to do shows. And, I wasn't really ready to step into that world. I was known for gospel music and opening my hands and making, And I used to be nervous. I used to be like throwing up before I performed. Yeah, because it was a different world. When you step into that bounce world, it was a whole different world. You got like thugs in the club, you got girls and the stacks, and you got like a whole different audience when you go into that world. Everybody not so pleasant like in church. In church,
right.
So and so, how you doing, brother? So and so, deacon such and such. It's a whole different world when you. So I had to adjust to all the different people and the different worlds that I was stepping into. And when I did finally identify where I fit in and where I felt comfortable at to perform, it was all she wrote then. I started and Mike. I started getting up there. This Big Freedia, the Queen Diva, I'm going there forceful and bold. I'm here and I'm not going nowhere.
I love it.
It just took time and practice. The stage was my practice each day. The different parties was my practice. Each time I did another show, that was another day that I was getting under my belt to feel more comfortable with myself, with my music, with the style of music, with the place where I would be in the bounce culture.
That's right.
And I'm still not knowing where none of this is going to go. I'm just doing what I love to do and having fun. And that was the most important thing, having fun, making people have fun. We just wanted to party. We just wanted to up with the girls. It's me and 20 girls riding the Wiggle Bitch bus. You know, we all hopping out of van. You can see the van coming up the street, going up and down, because there's us in there shaking to the bounce music. Right. So we just wanted to have fun and create memories with each other.
I love it.
And over time, things just started to happen, and I was able to be blessed to continue to do it for so many years. 20 years later, and I'm still rolling.
So you still rocking and rolling hard, Big Freedia. I love it. And there's some other folks who have just, again, that you have on your list that know how to shake up a mic and shake up an audience. And as a boss, that's Mary J. Blige. You have Real Love on here. Talk to me about Real Love.
I'm talking about that real love. Yes. Mary J., another person who has worked hard. She has been consistent in her music. She has been unapologetic. She has been herself. And she just gave it to them raw. You know, you're going to accept me for who I am. You're going to accept the sound of my voice. You're going to accept me, you know, for being me. And, you know, I like real people. I like the realness in people. And Real Love, you know, that just was a real vibe. You know what I'm saying? Who don't feel a Mary song?
Hey, you can't feel if you don't feel a Mary song. That's just that simple. That's just that simple. That's right.
And it gives us something to relate to, you know, everyday life people, you know, gives us something to relate to, and somebody who's going through something that we're going through, you know, and even being an artist and being on a bigger scale, you can relate to these people when they make certain type of songs and certain music that you can feel in your spirit and in your soul.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. It's all about that connection. And so here's another one you had on the list. Now pivoting from Mary J, talking about Monica and Brandy, The Boy Is Mine. And Beyonce, yeah, you know what I mean? So,
tell her, baby, that boy, he's mine, honey. You may have had him that second, but I got it right now. The boy is mine. It's the vibe between Monica and Brandy. And, you know, we all love how, you know, they both were two different, unique individuals. They had two different worlds that they were living in, but their music connected us all. You know, the stories, you know, connected us. We all had a time where such and such was going with a person, and you might have wanted the boy, or you might have took the boy. You know, so you know, just growing up in New Orleans, we all went through that, especially. You know, we all had that little secret crush on somebody that was mine. So I just more realness and relatable people.
Right.
You know,
that's right.
Mike and Brandy, two more real ones, you know, that I love so much. And, you know, they have helped definitely the Black culture, especially with their music.
100%. 100%. Amazing artists, amazing women. And then you had the queen bee herself, Beyonce, Crazy in Love. You know what I mean?
We've all had that moment. And if you haven't had that moment, you're going to get to that moment hopefully sometime in life where you have been crazy in love with somebody, you know.
Tell us about that, Big Freedia. When were you crazy in love? Talk to me about it.
You know, I was crazy in love. I mean, I had in middle school, I had a crush on this guy. Oh my God. He was my middle school little crush. Like, I just was like, I used to be drooling by the mouth over this boy. He never even knew. But you know, when I got a little bit older, I was able to finally get my first boyfriend, and it was something special for me. You know, I had, you know, been looking for love and looking for a place where I can find me somebody, and to get a boy who was, you know, a heterosexual and to kind of, you know, even though he was undercover and we had to, you know, hide a lot of different stuff. That's the way it was back then. But I was deeply in love with him, and you know, he changed my life. He changed a lot of different things about me. You know, when I met him, I was real heavy set. Over time, I lost weight to wanting to look better for him and to do, you know, different things with him. And even over time, you know, more and more people started to find out about us. And you know, God bless his soul, he was killed here in New Orleans. Yeah. And so that took away that, you know, that partner that I had for such a long time. And we went together for a long time.
Wow. Sorry to hear that, but glad you got to experience that crazy love, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too.
Yes, yes, yes. So then let's pivot from the crazy love to twerk something. Cheeky Black's twerk something. That made the list.
Twerk something if you're real with it. Twerk something. Oh, baby, you know, if you're a twerker, you gonna twerk something if you're real with it. You heard me? Cheeky Black, another real one. You know, she made some classics. Her music just was the staple here in New Orleans, still is to today. You know, her sound, you know, Cheeky Black was one of the ones who also came out with the Cheeky Black claps and Manny created the sound of a certain beat for Cheeky Black, which we still use today. So Cheeky Black is a big part of the bounce culture with her Cheeky Black beat. And that instrumental will forever live on and be a big part of the culture. Like, you can break her beat down 100 million ways and use different samples and parts from it. So she just has been a big influence in my life and in the whole bounce family culture.
I love it. I love it. So now thinking about the bounce family culture, thinking about, again, your gospel background, the rap, talk to me, sing. I would want to understand, when did it come to you that you were a rapper? Like, when did that hit you? Like, this is what I do.
So maybe right after Katrina, you know, Katrina, we were all displaced all over the world. You know, all of us New Orleans people, we were displaced in, you know, in Texas and Atlanta, and, you know, they even had people in Canada and just all over the world. So I had to like start traveling after Katrina. People wanted to hear Big Freedia. People wanted me to bring a sense of home, a sense of New Orleans to all these different places. And when I would get to these different places, it kind of felt like I was Michael Jackson. You know, like people were screaming and hollering and falling out. I can't believe you here. I miss you so much. And the energy and the parties in those rooms were unbelievable. Unbelievable. People had FEMA money. People had Red Cross money. People popping bottles. People got new outfits, new hairdos, new haircuts. The energy was unbelievable. There was, like, when I would say one word, it was like I had 10 choirs in the club like, responding after me. Just how powerful it was. So those moments there was the moments that really, you know, solidified that this is you. This is your career. This is what you're called to do. You know, you started in one music, but now you're bringing people together through the power of as. And, you know, I connected a lot of people. I brought a lot of people back home. I encouraged people to help rebuild the city. You know, and I knew then that I had a purpose in life and that, you know, what my purpose was going to be. And I said, well, this is my career. I'm going to take it full force and I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to put my all into it. I'm going to dedicate my life and everything that I do to my music. This is what's going to be the new me. I ain't no job. Ain't no more going to school.
This is it.
This is it. And that's right after Katrina. I just went full. I started, you know, doing more and more clubs. I had clubs 7 nights a week. I started my decorating company that also decorated the party in the daytime, and we rapped at night. You know, so I started to create the memories and the legacy around the things that I'm doing. All these parties that everybody doing now, I've been did that way back.
That's right.
Creating all type of parties that you can't even think of that people, you know, having now. You know, that was for me back then. You know, just creating those moments for New Orleans and giving them something to look forward for. Every week I had so many different clubs. I had to change the theme every week at all these different clubs and keep myself relevant for years. And some of the clubs I did for 8 years, some I did for 10 years, some I did for 5 years. And it was an every week thing. You might see me at one place, you saw me at Platinum 3000 or Unlimited on a Thursday. You saw me at Caesars on a Friday. You saw me at the Focus on a Saturday and a Monday. You know, like every night I had something every day of the week, rolling and creating a legacy for years.
That is powerful. I mean, first of all, the fact that you were able to take the New Orleans experience around the US, right? Bring a piece of home to them. That was what that grabbed my attention. Like, whoa, that's why they were going crazy. Like, we listen, what Katrina couldn't take away is still here, right? And that's what you were able to show. Like, and that's beautiful. That's powerful. And so it seems like, Freedia, with your music, right? It's clear, it's upbeat, it's energy, it's celebratory, it's empowering, right? Yeah. And so with the growing use of music as a force for liberation and this joy, how do you view music in the scope of social change? Do you ever think about it in that way at all?
I do, because a lot of times now, I have to use my platform to speak on a lot of things that's happening with social issues in the world. And I love when different artists are putting social issues in their music.
Yes.
And identifying with, specific problems that we are facing on and that we are dealing with. Mm-hmm. So it's important for us as artists to use our platform to deal with some of these worldly things that's happening, in our everyday lives.
That's right.
So yeah, I definitely want to, and as I grow older and as I continue to make music, my music is steady changing, and I want my stories to be deeper and have more meaning. As I'm talking to my team and we're preparing for the new single or the new EP, or the messaging going to be behind it, or, how I'm going to deliver this. We are always thinking about how can we help continue to change the world one person at a time.
Big Freedia, this has been a pure pleasure engaging with you on today. I have just enjoyed
this conversation.
Yeah, I just had fun. I thank you for this. Are there any final thoughts that you want to share with our listeners about anything you want to leave them with about being Black in America? You have the stage and the mic, my friend.
Continue to love yourself, first of all, before you can go out and accept anybody to love you. And continue to be Black and bold and powerful, and know that we are creators and we continue to make things happen and make life worthwhile. We bring so much joy and so much energy and love to so many people in our lives. Continue to be great and continue to be you. That's most important. Continue to listen to music. Music helps heal the soul. It helps feed the soul. It helps encourage the soul. It helps you on your good days and your bad days, your ups and your downs. And, I'm just grateful to continue to be who I am and helping in any way that I can to keep help changing the world every day, one person at a time. Thank you, Doc, for this conversation. And guess what? One more thing I got to tell you before I go. You already know. Boy, down.
Well, folks, Big Freedia said it best. I thank you for your time, your words, and wisdom. And that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this segment and keep loving yourself and go out into the world and do some good. Good night, everybody. Family, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. Now remember to hit the follow or subscribe button to see every episode when they come out. Until next time, keep on trucking, baby.